I've been married to Claire for 7 years. Our life was, by most standards, stable. I ran a small accounting firm. She managed a boutique home decor store. We didn't live extravagantly, but we weren't struggling either. People called us the perfect couple, which now feels like a cruel joke. It started innocently enough. Our anniversary was coming up, and I had hinted that I wanted to get her something meaningful this time, something timeless. Claire had always admired fine jewelry, but never pressured me into buying any. I'd see her pause by jewelry displays in malls, her fingers brushing over the glass as if she could feel the shimmer. One Saturday, I suggested we visit La Belle Joaillerie, an upscale jewelry store downtown. She seemed surprised but excited. I remember her soft smile as we walked in, the polished wood floors gleaming, the soft lighting making every gemstone sparkle like a trapped star. That's when we met him. "Good afternoon," he said, stepping toward us with a confident but disarming smile. "I'm Julian. How can I help you today?" Julian was everything you'd expect from a luxury jewelry consultant. Tall, sharply dressed, with a voice that dripped smooth charm. His eyes lingered on Claire just a fraction too long, not enough to be disrespectful, but enough that I noticed. She noticed too. "We're looking for something special," Claire said, her voice suddenly softer, almost playful. "Something for you?" Julian asked, leaning slightly closer. "For our anniversary," I added quickly. He led us to a private display area. His hands moved with precision as he unlocked cases, carefully placing one piece after another on the velvet mat. Diamond pendants, sapphire rings, delicate bracelets. I watched Claire's face light up in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. Julian noticed too. "You have an eye for timeless beauty," he told her, his words deliberate. She blushed. Actually blushed. I laughed it off, brushing it aside as harmless flattery. After all, isn't that part of his job? We ended up buying a modest diamond necklace. Julian packaged it himself, tying the ribbon with an almost theatrical flourish. As he handed it to Claire, their fingers brushed for a second too long. On the way home, she couldn't stop talking about the experience. Not about the necklace, but about the way Julian explained things, how knowledgeable he was about the craftsmanship, how passionate he seemed about every tiny detail. I thought nothing of it at the time. A week later, she mentioned she wanted to drop by the store to see if they had matching earrings. I was busy with work, so I told her to go ahead. That became the first of many visits. At first, she'd casually mention them. "Julian showed me a new collection today," she'd say while pouring herself a glass of wine. Or, "He said he could reserve a piece for me until I decide." Then it shifted. She stopped mentioning him. It was subtle, the way her phone seemed more guarded, how she'd smile at messages she didn't explain. She started dressing differently, more carefully. She wore that same perfume she used when we were first dating. I wanted to believe it was just a phase. Maybe she was rediscovering herself. Maybe she just needed a spark. I tried planning more date nights, being more attentive, even surprising her with a weekend getaway. But something was already changing. The first real crack appeared when I found the receipt. It was in her handbag, carelessly tucked into the side pocket. A purchase from La Belle Joaillerie. Not the necklace we'd bought together. This was for an emerald bracelet, and it cost more than what I'd spent on her necklace. When I asked, she said it was just a little treat for herself. But Claire had never been impulsive with money, not like that. I didn't press further. Maybe I was scared of the answer I'd get. The next time it became clear something was wrong was on a random Thursday. I came home early, earlier than she expected. Her car was in the driveway, but she wasn't in the living room or the kitchen. I heard muffled voices upstairs, followed by a faint laugh. Her laugh. When I opened our bedroom door, It was empty. The sound was coming from her phone, on speaker, lying on the bed. I froze when I heard his voice. Julian. He was saying something soft, intimate, and then she whispered back, "I can't stop thinking about you." My heart dropped. I didn't confront her immediately. I backed out quietly, pretending I hadn't heard anything. But from that moment, I couldn't unsee it. The signs were everywhere. The way she avoided my eyes, the sudden urgency to run errands, the way she smiled at her phone like a teenager with a crush. That night, she came to bed late. I pretended to be asleep. She lay beside me, scrolling through her phone, the soft glow of the screen reflecting in her eyes. I could almost hear the silent conversation happening right in front of me. I knew. But I needed proof. And I needed to know how far it had gone. After that night, I couldn't shake the voice I heard through her phone. Julian's voice. Smooth, low, the kind of tone meant to make someone feel desired. I told myself I needed to be sure. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe he was just charming, and she got carried away. But the way she said, "I can't stop thinking about you," echoed in my skull like a relentless drumbeat. I began to notice everything. Claire started dressing differently even for the smallest errands. Not just nice, seductive. Her casual jeans and hoodie look vanished. Now she wore fitted skirts, silk blouses, heels. She put on makeup just to run to the store. She even started wearing the emerald bracelet I'd never seen before, the one she claimed was just a little treat for herself. She also became distant, not hostile, just gone. Conversations felt mechanical. When I'd ask about her day, she'd give vague answers and quickly change the subject. The warmth that used to flow between us like a natural current was gone, replaced by an invisible wall I couldn't break through. I tried. I suggested another weekend getaway. She said she was too busy with work. I cooked her favorite meal one Friday night. She picked at it, barely touched her wine, and spent most of the evening scrolling through her phone. And then there were the late-night errands. She'd say she needed to pick up something at the store, or drop by a friend's place, but she'd be gone for hours. When I offered to come with her, she always had an excuse. "You must be tired from work," or "It's just a quick thing, I'll be right back." I couldn't keep living in the dark. So, I did something I never imagined I'd do. I followed her. One Tuesday evening, she said she had to meet a supplier for the store. I kissed her goodbye like normal, then waited 15 minutes before I grabbed my coat and slipped into my car. She drove straight to the downtown district, not toward any supplier I knew. She pulled into the side street where La Belle Joaillerie was located. My stomach tightened. I parked a few cars back and watched. Julian was waiting outside the shop, even though it was after hours. He was dressed casually this time, not in his usual suit. When he saw her, his face lit up in a way that felt intimate. She got out of the car. And the way she smiled at him, God, it was a smile I hadn't seen in years. The kind of smile she used to give me when we were first in love. He kissed her. Not on the cheek, not a polite greeting. A deep, lingering kiss that erased any doubt I might have had. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. For a moment, I felt like I was outside my own body, watching my life unravel like a slow-motion nightmare. They didn't go into the jewelry store. Instead, they walked around the corner, laughing softly, his hand resting on her lower back like it belonged there. A few minutes later, they disappeared into the side entrance of a boutique hotel. I stayed parked for almost an hour, staring blankly at the building, waiting for them to come out. When they didn't, I drove home in a haze. That night, when Claire returned, she smelled faintly of his cologne. She slipped into bed beside me like nothing had happened. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of betrayal pressing down on me. The next morning, I couldn't look at her the same way. But I didn't confront her, not yet. I needed more than just my own word against hers. I needed the truth in a way she couldn't deny. So I started quietly gathering proof. I checked our shared credit card statements. Sure enough, there were charges at the hotel. Small, frequent ones, always on the nights she claimed to be busy with work. I even found a receipt for a men's bracelet from La Belle Joaillerie. She hadn't bought it for me. A week later, I decided to push. I casually mentioned Julian at dinner. "Hey, whatever happened to that jewelry consultant? Julian, right? He seemed very helpful." Her fork paused midair for just a fraction of a second before she answered, "Oh, him. Yeah, he's nice. He's been showing me some new collections for the store." Her voice was even, but her eyes flickered with something. Panic? Guilt? I forced a smile. Interesting. Maybe I should stop by the store one day, say hi. She shrugged too quickly. There's really no need. He's just doing his job. That night, she slept facing away from me. The emotional distance grew like a cancer. I started avoiding home more, throwing myself into work, staying late at the office because being around her felt unbearable. I couldn't decide what hurt more, the affair itself or the fact that she didn't even seem to care enough to hide it well. I told my best friend, David, about what I'd seen. He told me I needed to decide, either confront her and demand the truth, or walk away before it destroyed me. But I wasn't ready to let go. Not yet. So I made one final plan. The next time she said she had to meet a supplier, I'd already booked a private investigator to follow her. If I was going to confront her, I wanted undeniable evidence, photos, times, dates. I needed the truth documented, even if it shattered me completely. And I knew it would. Because deep down, I already knew what I'd see. I just didn't know if I was ready to face it. The night I hired the private investigator, I barely slept. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening to Claire's soft, even breathing beside me. How could she sleep so peacefully knowing what she was doing? Did she feel no guilt? The next day, I went to work as usual, trying to pretend my life wasn't falling apart. The investigator, Marcus, was discreet and professional. He'd followed her that evening when she claimed she was meeting a supplier about a new shipment for the store. He called me 2 hours later. "She's at the same hotel you mentioned," he said. "She's not alone." I felt the blood drain from my face. Even though I already knew, hearing someone else confirm it was like being punched in the gut. "Can you get proof?" I asked, my voice shaking. "I already have," Marcus replied. "Photos time-stamped. I'll send them to you tonight." When the email came through, I stared at the images for what felt like an eternity. Claire and Julian entering the hotel hand in hand. Claire, smiling at him the way she used to smile at me. Later, another set of photos, them leaving the hotel hours later, her hair slightly messy, his hand resting possessively on her lower back. There it was, the undeniable truth. I thought I'd feel rage, but instead it was emptiness, a hollow ache that spread through my chest like frost. That night, she came home late, humming softly as she kicked off her heels. I was sitting at the dining table with a glass of whiskey, the printed photos spread out in front of me. She froze when she saw me. "Hey, you're still up?" she asked cautiously. I didn't answer. I just slid the photos across the table toward her. Her face went pale. She stared at them for a long moment, her lips trembling slightly, but she didn't say a word. Finally, I spoke. My voice was calm, too calm. "How long?" She didn't look up. "It just happened," she whispered. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh that comes from someone who's past anger, past hurt. Don't insult me, Claire. How long? She swallowed hard, her eyes glistening. A few months, she admitted. I didn't mean for it to. I didn't plan this. Didn't plan it? I snapped, my voice finally breaking. So what was all this? The late nights? The lies? Walking into a hotel with him like I wouldn't notice? Did you really think I was that blind? Her silence was louder than any confession. I stood up, my hand shaking. Was it worth it? Throwing away 7 years? For a man who sells you jewelry and sweet words? Her eyes finally met mine, and there was something in them I couldn't read. Guilt, yes, but also longing? He made me feel alive again, she said softly. Like I mattered. Like I was wanted. The words hit harder than any scream could. I took a deep breath, my chest tight. And I didn't make you feel that way? Tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't answer. And that silence told me everything I needed to know. I turned away, unable to look at her anymore. You know, I could have forgiven a moment of weakness. A single mistake. But this was a choice you kept making, over and over. And now I have to make mine. Please, she whispered, her voice breaking. Can we talk about this? I didn't want to lose you. I faced her one last time. You already did. I grabbed my coat and left. The next few days were a blur of paperwork, lawyers, and cold, bitter clarity. Marcus provided me with all the evidence I needed for the divorce. My attorney assured me it would be straightforward. No alimony, no chance for her to take more than what was fair. Claire tried calling, texting, even showing up at my office once, but I refused to see her. What was left to say? Eventually, she sent one last message. I never stopped loving you. I just forgot what that love was supposed to feel like. I'm sorry. I didn't reply. Weeks turned into months. I moved into a smaller apartment closer to work. The silence was deafening at first, but over time, it became peaceful. I focused on rebuilding my life piece by piece. Sometimes I still see her in my mind, laughing at Julian's jokes, wearing that emerald bracelet he probably picked out for her. And it stings, but not like it used to. It's more of a dull ache now, a scar instead of an open wound. I don't know what happened to her and Julian after everything. I don't care anymore. Because I realized something in all this pain. No matter how much you love someone, if they're willing to betray you so easily, they were never truly yours to begin with. And maybe that's the only closure I'll ever need.